China may have just delivered one of the biggest warnings yet to the American and European EV industry, and the AVATR 12 is right at the center of it. Because this is not just another electric car from China. This is the kind of car that makes you stop, look at the badge, and ask one question. How did they build all of this for this kind of money? And now, with the AVATR 12 targeting international markets and Canada becoming a major point of interest, the conversation around Chinese EVs is getting much harder to ignore. For years, the global EV conversation was dominated by Tesla. Then came BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, Porsche, and other European manufacturers trying to catch up. But while everyone was fighting over the premium EV market, Chinese companies were moving at a completely different speed. They were building batteries, they were developing electric motors, they were improving autonomous driving systems, they were creating giant digital cabins, and most importantly, they were combining all of it into cars that don't look or feel like budget alternatives. The AVATR 12 is one of the clearest examples. Look at the exterior. Seriously, just look at it. The first thing you notice is that AVATR didn't design this car to look like a conventional luxury sedan. It looks futuristic. The front end is extremely clean, with a low nose, sharp lighting signatures, smooth surfaces, and aerodynamic bodywork. There is no giant traditional grille because, obviously, an EV doesn't need one. Instead, AVATR uses the front end to create a completely different identity. The lighting is one of the most recognizable parts of the design. The slim LED elements stretch across the front and give the car a technological appearance, almost like a piece of consumer electronics turned into a vehicle. And that is exactly what AVATR is trying to achieve. This isn't supposed to look like an old gasoline sedan that simply had the engine removed. It is supposed to look like an electric car from the beginning. Walk around the side and the proportions become even more impressive. The AVATR 12 is roughly 5 meters long, depending on configuration, and its wheelbase stretches beyond 3 meters. That is serious luxury car territory. You're looking at a vehicle with enough physical presence to stand beside cars like the BMW i5, Mercedes EQE, and Tesla Model S without looking like the smaller competitor. In fact, from some angles, the AVATR 12 looks more exotic than many of them. The roofline flows backward in a fastback-style design, while the rear remains wide and planted. And there is an important aerodynamic benefit here. Electric vehicles are extremely sensitive to aerodynamic efficiency. Every bit of drag affects energy consumption and therefore range. So the smooth body, low roofline, flush surfaces, and carefully shaped rear aren't just there because the designers wanted Instagram pictures. They're part of the engineering, and AVATR has clearly understood that. But now we need to talk about the wheels and stance, because this car sits low. It has the kind of road presence you normally associate with a performance grand tourer rather than a family electric sedan. And honestly, I love it. It looks expensive, it looks futuristic, and most importantly, it looks different. Because that's one of the biggest problems with modern EVs. A lot of them are beginning to look the same. Smooth front, small lights, huge screen, aerodynamic wheels, done. AVATR clearly didn't want that. It wanted a recognizable design. Now open the door. This is where things get seriously interesting. The interior of the AVATR 12 is designed around technology, but it doesn't feel like AVATR simply took a tablet and glued it to the dashboard. The entire cabin has been designed around digital interaction. There are large displays, premium materials, sophisticated lighting, advanced connectivity, and an extremely clean dashboard layout. The atmosphere is closer to a luxury lounge than a traditional driver's cockpit. And that is important because Chinese manufacturers have discovered something European manufacturers sometimes forget: Luxury isn't only about leather and a famous badge anymore. Luxury is also about what the technology can do. Imagine getting into the car at night. The cabin lights come alive, the digital displays activate, the vehicle recognizes the driver. Your navigation, climate settings, entertainment, and driving preferences are ready. You don't feel like you're starting a machine. You feel like you're entering a digital environment. And this is where AVATR has an advantage. The company has access to technology from some of China's biggest technology players, including Huawei, which has been heavily involved in intelligent vehicle systems. That gives the AVATR 12 an entirely different technology foundation. Now, let's talk about the screens. Depending on configuration, the AVATR 12 offers a massive digital display environment across the cabin. And unlike some cars where the screen is basically a giant phone stuck in the middle, AVATR has integrated the displays into the design. The result is a cockpit that feels futuristic without becoming completely chaotic. But technology isn't just about screens. The real story is what is happening underneath them. The AVATR 12 is designed around advanced driver assistance. High-resolution sensors, cameras, radar, LiDAR technology on supported configurations, and powerful computing systems work together to understand the road around the vehicle. That means the car can assist with functions such as lane keeping, adaptive cruise control, automated parking, navigation assistance, and other advanced driving functions, depending on market and configuration. And before someone says, "So it's fully autonomous?" No, let's slow down. Driver assistance is not the same thing as a fully autonomous vehicle. The driver still needs to remain responsible and attentive. But the technology is moving extremely quickly. And this is one of the areas where Chinese manufacturers are putting enormous pressure on everyone else. Now, let's talk about performance. This is where the AVATR 12 stops looking like a luxury technology showcase and starts behaving like a proper performance machine. The AVATR 12 has been offered in multiple powertrain configurations, including rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. The higher performance versions use 2 electric motors, and electric motors have one enormous advantage: instant torque. There is no waiting for the engine to build boost. There is no transmission searching for the right gear. There is no dramatic downshift. You press the accelerator, boom, the motors respond. Depending on configuration, the high-performance AVATR 12 can produce well over 500 horsepower and deliver 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration in roughly 4 seconds. For a large luxury vehicle, that's seriously quick. And because the battery is positioned low in the chassis, the center of gravity can also be kept lower than in many traditional gasoline-powered luxury cars. That can help the vehicle feel more planted through corners. Now imagine comparing this to a traditional BMW 5 Series. The BMW has decades of chassis engineering behind it. It has incredible steering. It has a sophisticated suspension. It has a famous badge. But then you drive the AVATR 12. Instant torque, silent acceleration, advanced software, huge screens, a futuristic cabin, and potentially a lower purchase price. That's when the conversation gets interesting, because the question is no longer, can China build a luxury EV? We already know the answer, yes. The real question is, can established manufacturers convince customers to pay more for their traditional advantages? And that's much harder. Now, let's talk about the battery. The exact battery size, chemistry, range, and charging specifications can vary by market and version, so buyers should always check the Canadian market specification before making a purchase. But the AVATR 12 is designed around long-distance electric driving, rather than simply being a city commuter. And that matters, because nobody wants a giant luxury EV that looks incredible but becomes useless on a long road trip. Canada is a perfect example. You can drive enormous distances between cities.
Cold weather can also reduce EV range, so charging performance and thermal management matter just as much as the headline range number. This is where modern Chinese EV engineering becomes particularly impressive. Companies are investing heavily in high-voltage electrical architectures, fast charging, sophisticated battery management, and thermal systems. The goal is simple: put more usable energy into the battery faster, and make sure the battery performs consistently in different conditions. Now let's talk about safety. The AVATR 12 is packed with modern active safety technology, including systems designed to monitor surrounding traffic, maintain lane position, detect obstacles, assist with emergency braking, and help with highway driving. Again, exact equipment can vary by market, but this is no longer the era where Chinese cars automatically.
Which one are you choosing? Comment below. Would you take the AVATR 12 over a Tesla Model S? Would you choose it over a BMW i5? Or would you still pay extra for the German badge? Because this is where personal preference matters. Some buyers will always want BMW. Some people will always choose Mercedes. Some people trust Tesla's charging network and software ecosystem. And some people simply aren't ready to trust a new Chinese luxury brand. That's completely understandable. Brand reputation doesn't appear overnight. It takes decades to build. But here's the uncomfortable truth for established manufacturers. Chinese brands don't necessarily need to destroy your reputations. They just need to become good enough. If a customer looks at a BMW and an AVATR and says, "The BMW is better in some areas, but the AVATR gives me 90% of the experience for significantly less money," then the market has already changed. And this is where value becomes critical. Chinese manufacturers have historically been extremely aggressive on pricing. They have huge domestic competition. There are dozens of EV brands fighting for customers. Battery production is heavily developed, supply chains are deeply integrated, and software development moves quickly. That combination creates enormous pressure. The AVATR 12 isn't competing against one company. It is coming from an automotive ecosystem where dozens of manufacturers are constantly trying to outdo one another. That's why features arrive so quickly. One company introduces a new screen, another adds better driver assistance, another improves charging, another adds massage seats, another develops a better battery, and suddenly the entire market moves forward. That's the Chinese EV phenomenon. Now let's talk about practicality. Because yes, this is a beautiful luxury car, but can you actually live with it? The answer is potentially yes. The large dimensions mean there's plenty of cabin space. The long wheelbase provides generous room for passengers. The fastback body gives it a dramatic shape while still providing useful cargo capacity. And because there's no traditional gasoline engine taking up the same packaging space, EV architecture can create additional flexibility. For a family, the AVATR 12 could work as a daily vehicle. For a business executive, it could work as a comfortable highway cruiser. For an enthusiast, the performance gives it enough excitement to avoid feeling like a boring appliance. And that's the magic of the formula. It isn't just one thing, it's trying to be everything. Luxury car, technology platform, performance machine, daily driver, long-distance cruiser, and futuristic statement. Now let's talk about what ownership might actually feel like. This is where things get more complicated. The biggest question for international buyers isn't whether the AVATR 12 is technically impressive. It is. The question is whether the ownership ecosystem will be equally impressive. How easy will it be to get parts? How quickly will service centers expand? How will software updates work? What warranty will Canadian buyers receive? Will charging networks fully support the vehicle? Will resale values remain strong? Those questions matter, because buying a car isn't just buying the vehicle, you're buying the entire ownership experience. BMW has dealerships everywhere. Mercedes has decades of service infrastructure. Tesla has a huge charging and software ecosystem. AVATR still has to build that international infrastructure, and that could be one of the biggest challenges. But if the company solves it, that's when things become dangerous.
because the hardware is already impressive, the software is impressive, the design is impressive, the performance is impressive. Now the international ownership experience has to catch up, and if it does, the AVATR 12 could become a serious alternative to established luxury EVs. There's also something bigger happening here. For years, the West viewed China primarily as a manufacturing center,